Good afternoon. Welcome to Good Guy Sports. I'm Jackson Gerke. Alongside our co-host Blake Gerke and the two Blakes. We will talk about the Olympics for a second, but we are going to start us off with some baseball news that Uncle Mike's not going to hear this, but Dylan Case of the Padres threw a no-hitter against your Nationals. Not great as a average fan, but I don't know if you and Aunt Rory were watching the game watching the game together and to spot yourself that, oh man, they threw a new header and shut us out. And I want to get your reaction, Mike, if you're watching that game and if you did, your reaction and thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, it happened at home. Worst place to be no hit in
Mm-hmm.
your own ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
But no hitters are special. So, you got to tip your cap to Dylan Cease for pitching a no hitter. And he pitched a fantastic game. I think he probably had about 115 pitches and everything. So, yeah, you just tip your hat to him, and hopefully the Nationals will do better when they travel to St. Louis tomorrow night. But yeah, I was watching it. I was like, oh no, come on, somebody's got to jinx him, but to no avail.
Well, nothing they can really say about it. It was just one of those hard fought games, and just you can really control, and just it's just that the Nationals just haven't been playing great lately. Just really just went up and down, and just really just really couldn't do any just really couldn't do it do anything or
Yeah.
do all about it. They
Well,
just
we swept the Reds
right.
over the weekend, but then we turn around and we got swept by the Padres.
Hmm.
So, you're struggling right at the 50-50 mark.
Can you get scored on and still have a no hitter if you walk four guys in a row, or
Yeah.
they
Oh
have
yeah.
errors? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think he had 3 walks, so it was not a perfect game,
Did
but
they
even
score?
still. No, we were blanked.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it'd have been a fun game to be at, just to see a no-hitter.
And errors count against you or not? Fielding errors,
Errors will count against the team as to a perfect game.
but not a no hitter. You can still get a no hitter with fielding
But you
errors.
still get a no-hitter. No-hitter
Okay.
means nobody hit. But
Okay. Got it.
if your teammate gets an error, then that means you're probably going to face the more than the minimum batters. You're going to face at least 28 batters.
Okay.
But even if it was a double play and you still only face 27 batters, it's still not a perfect game because somebody was on base.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
So that's why I say, I mean, a no-hitter is a team effort to a certain extent, because in every no-hitter, there's usually one or two just outstanding defensive plays
Hmm. Okay.
that steal a hit from one of the other guys.
Was that the case here?
There were a couple. We didn't hit the ball very well for most of the day, so there really wasn't the case here. There wasn't any really outstanding defensive plays, but it happens.
Okay. Cool.
So I don't know if you know this, Mike, but it was certainly great to be back from our summer break for our summer break vacation from 2 weeks off. But one of the things that I actually got to do during our time off during our time off from summer break is I actually is I actually was happy enough and I actually worked hard for this and I really and it was really worth a special treat and I worked hard and deserved it. I actually was at a Braves game this past Saturday with with one of our co-hosts, Blake Lomberger. You were with me, and we actually ended up going with one of our with one of our college friends that I known for quite a while. They played the Cardinals, but they didn't get the win. What but at least you and I had a great time together, and we just really soaked it in and it and enjoyed it until it last. So we so it was so before you met us, so yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great handsome picture right there with all my great friends right there. And yeah, I bet you Blake Lomberger is very jealous for us to see that. But
Love it.
yeah, and so right when we got there, we ended up going to one of the local restaurants that's in the Battery area, and in this bagel place called Goldberg's. It wasn't my idea; it was my friend's idea. So we ended up going there right before you showed up, and with with the right when we were outside of the restaurant, and with the Brave jersey and the whole rest of us and the whole gang together, and took a lot of great pictures, saw the festivities and the pregame hype and the Braves and and the Battery District and the whole area itself. And let me tell you, I had a great time and I really enjoyed it. And it was just really, it was just really a dream come true for me. I just couldn't put it in any other words. Food was great. Atmosphere was atmosphere was fun. Uh, I just this was actually my second time going to the to Truist Park as as a fan, but but having walked out of the game, even though we didn't come out with the win as expected, that realizing that I got home late at night, end up end up returning to my to my family's house um late at night at the game. But the traffic coming out was just really just a nightmare. I think it just applies to every ballpark, but
Jackson, what do you think about the game? What were the highlights during the game, though?
oh, I'll
Yeah,
tell you,
your dad said he wanted a high scoring game to watch, and what did he get?
oh,
Home run city, baby.
oh
Home
yeah.
run city.
Yes, every single home run from both sides of each team. It was exciting, and yes, Blake, you're right.
Here's a fun fact for Mike. How often do you see back to back home runs in your home stadium with your home team, yet you lose the game?
Yeah. Wow.
That can't happen too often,
That's
right?
harsh. That is
I think
harsh.
all the home runs, Jack, if I'm not wrong, were all solo shots, which hurt us a little bit. I think we ended with 3 home runs with the Braves. One of the players had 2 himself, and I think they were all solo shots, which was the problem.
Wow. Yeah, you got to get some guys on base. Yeah.
Had
Yeah.
one home run, Mike, believe it or not, Jackson. Remember when the home run was called back? Hit a home run, and the referee stared right at it and said it was a home run. And they both trotted home, did a review, and the review came back clearly. It was not a home run. It was to the right of the foul pole. And
Oh
he was staring
man.
right at it and called it a home run.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Me and my brother Blake were just and my friend
Darn
my dad and I
replay.
were watching it in real time and it thought it was going to go thought it was going to be a home run until they reviewed it and realizing that it wasn't, so it got called back. And yeah, pretty much anything for a ball game can really wipe out a big play just like that. And so much twists and turns, but pretty much a big play can just can just really wipe it out and just just like that. And I think that just tells you how little of an error, a small error, just can really change things in a game. And that's just exactly what happened.
Hmm. I love hearing the crack of the bat and the sound of a home run ball as it hits the bat. I mean,
That's it. Yep.
it's gone.
Yep.
A no doubter. That's when it's fun to be a fan. In our game, the Reds scored 2 runs in the top of the first inning, and then one of our guys hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first to tie it up, and it went back and forth the entire game, and then we finally won it. But the best part was getting your text, Jack. I was so happy that you were at Truist Park at the same time we were at Nationals Park.
Yeah, because realizing at the time when I was there that my dad told me to put my phone down, but I refused to. We were like going back and forth right at it at each game we were at, and like giving you updates, the final scores, and all that stuff. And yeah, that just tells you that we and I were just having a great time, soaking it all in, just enjoying a baseball game.
Yeah, that was a blast. Aunt Lori was like, "Who are you texting with?" I said, "I'm talking to Jack." He said the Braves game, trying to help him out.
And that's what I'm here for. Just
Yeah,
to give some scoop on each stadium that we were at that night. And that's just here at Good Guy Sports, just to bring you just to really bring you for what that store and what the sports show can really give you like no one else. That was really a part of my job.
well, you did an outstanding job.
Thank you.
So, what are the Braves
Thank you,
going to
Mike.
do before the trade deadline?
Well, I haven't heard much, but I'm assuming for each team, I'm guessing that the Orioles are one of those teams to watch for that can really get involved in the trade deadline. If I think they're going to be one of the teams to watch, possibly be winners. Besides the Orioles, I look at the Phillies who can really dominate in the trade deadline. I look for players that can really trade it for them to possibly make them have a deep postseason run. If they can do that, then I think the Phillies will dominate in the deadline. I just think that the Phillies, to me, are pretty much going to be a team to watch for this postseason, and I think that they can can really can really give to you for what this team has to offer.
Yeah. So I'm hearing the I-95 World Series between Baltimore and Philly.
Well, that's one of my sources, not not any others, according to Good Guy Sports. But that's just what I had popped up in mind. But I'm sure everybody else in the sports world has other topics about this. But for me personally, I think maybe the Orioles and Phillies, the I-95 corridor series, like you said, could be one to watch. But I'm sure there's going to be some other teams involved in the trade deadline too.
Yeah. You think the Orioles are going to get that pitcher from the Tigers?
They might, but I wouldn't say that they are going to or not. But it's really up in the air for me to see how this all plays out. But only time will tell. But we'll see. But I think they got a shot. But I think they can do it.
Yeah.
It's just a big question mark to me that if they can really match the offer that they're actually looking for.
Yeah. Well, I think they'd have to give up either a big bat or their big prospect Holiday in order to get Tarek Skobel from the Tigers.
Right. But as for the Braves, for their, I mean, look, the reason why they've lost their last few games is because they are banged up with injuries. they need to do something in the trade deadline, or else they're probably going to be missing out on a wild card spot or make any postseason run. So to me, it's now or never for the Braves, or else they're probably going to miss out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Braves are in a kind of a good position because they need an outfielder, but they can settle for a rental because their regular outfielders should be healthy by next year. So that's probably a good position for the Braves to be in. Because Acuna will be back and Harris will be back. So they don't have to go after an outfielder that still has a couple years left of team control. They can get a guy who's going to end up being a free agent at the end of the year. So they should be in a good position.
Well, all we can hope is that if whatever team dominates it in the trade deadline, or there's going to be a big winner or loser, then if you're on the winning side of it, then great. But if you're on the loser side of it, then there's going to be a lot of question marks and signs for your team going forward for the remainder of the season and for maybe years to come. So lots to keep an eye on for this year's trade deadline.
Yeah. So before we stop talking about baseball, I was reading a story, and Jack, you'll probably like this. So Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins have started a new podcast. They call it 611. It's a homage to the numbers that they wore when they're playing. But they were talking about the 2008 series against the Brewers in the playoffs, and they were saying that CC Sabathia was pitching for the Brewers, and so that CC Sabathia, Prince Fielder, and Corey Hart for the Brewers in 3 days ate 28 cheesesteaks in the visitors' dugout. Brewers end up losing that series to the Phillies. And then the Phillies went on to win the World Series, I believe, in 2008. The following year, 2009, CC Sabathia shows up pitching with the New York Yankees, and Joe Girardi banned cheesesteaks from the Yankees dugout. No more cheesesteaks for CC Sabathia. Anyway, I read that and I said I got to share that with Jack.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, Mike, because I just had no idea they would even ban cheesesteaks at Yankee Stadium. I feel like this is becoming a thing or a trend now. Like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, and Blake, let's turn our attention and go across the pond and all of us on our first time and our first show of this topic, we all are going to say bonjour from Paris as the
Like
game
it, Jack.
get underway. Thanks, Blake. Get underway. First swing tomorrow with the opening ceremonies. Now, the competitions are already underway with some soccer, and some handball and some other little things, which I think are pretty weird, but are still part of the games anyway. But one of the athletes to keep an eye on, is Simone Biles, which my mom and Caroline are so obsessed with. But for me personally, one of the local athletes that Uncle Mike should keep an eye on is Noah Wiles from track and field and Katie Ledecky in swimming. So that's right.
Yeah.
Katie Ledecky, but that's a Maryland native, and then Noah Wiles, the Alexandria, Virginia native. So
Yeah.
those athletes that I think Uncle Mike should really follow, should really follow and very well, and just and just somehow on social media and distract them, because I think that they are just one of the athletes to keep an eye on. But
Yeah, Ledecky swims her first heat in the 400 free on Saturday morning.
mhm.
And I was Simone Biles' husband got permission from the Bears to skip training camp for the first week so he can be with his wife in Paris and watch her compete in the gymnastics.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a big power couple right there for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's Blake. I just watched the there's a Netflix special on her, and I was noticing that he was on there. It's a really interesting special.
Yeah, definitely.
We just watched that last night actually, and it was and we were just very impressed. So the opening ceremonies get underway first thing tomorrow at noon, and then will be an encore presentation at 7:30 in the evening on Friday. So mark your calendars. Olympics are going to be underway. Competition is already underway, but the main course, I would say, well, pretty much the competition that's already underway is your appetizer, but the main course events will get underway this weekend. Starting off with swimming on Saturday, and then the gymnastics, leading off with Simone Biles, Simone Lee, and Sha'Carri Richardson. Track and field, that'll be on Saturday. Gymnastics on Sunday. So mark your calendar. There's lots to look forward to.
Did you hear who the U.S. flag bearers are going to be?
Yes, I know the answer to that. None other than LeBron James.
Wow.
And
So is he
and Coco Gauff.
tennis player? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is LeBron gonna hold the flag, and then at the very end he's gonna dunk the flag into a basketball hoop or something like that? I don't think many. I think I saw a stat. Only like a couple of basketball players have been the flag bearer. I think maybe I want to say like David Robinson was back in the 90s because he had like a former military past, obviously. But it's pretty big deal. I think.
Yeah.
I think the obviously basketball gets a lot of attention, so maybe there's some members of the U.S. Olympic Committee that maybe are a bit they want to give more attention to the lesser known sports, but ultimately I think this is going to be LeBron's last Olympics, surely. So I think having him with that honor makes sense to me.
Aren't there 3 Celtics on the U.S. men's basketball team?
There are definitely 2. I think Jalen, or not Jalen actually, which is a bit controversial. Jason, Derek White, made it, but Jaylen Brown was actually snubbed, which is a bit of a controversy. I think the U.S. can win gold without Jaylen Brown, but it is a bit of a head scratcher. That
Holiday or not Holiday.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. So there is 3. Yeah, But I think there was some controversy
around.
Jaden
on it would be full.
Well,
a third of the team would be Celtics.
There was obviously there's a bit of controversy around Brown's snub, which, to be fair, when you think about it, not putting the reigning NBA Finals MVP on the Olympics team is a bit of a head scratcher. I don't know. There's some conspiracies about it being like a Nike thing. So Derek White, which is his own teammate, got on, and I think he might have even criticized that selection a little bit, which is kind of interesting. If your own teammate gets in over you, who's obviously Derek White's a good player, but Jaylen Brown's kind of one of the alpha dogs in the Celtics. So bit of an interesting thing there, but I think LeBron probably has final say on the roster as well. If he wants you there, you're there, kind of thing.
What do you think of the WNBA All-Stars beating the women's Olympic team?
Man, that was awesome. You know what, Jackson? You remember we were talking about that? Jackson and I and a guy named David Gerke were watching
Heard of him?
the South Sudan take it to the U.S. Olympic team in the Battery. And I looked over and I said, you know what? This is not going to be the biggest game today. The biggest game today is going to be when the U.S. women's Olympic team gets cheered against by the WNBA All-Star team. And they took it to them, and they were playing full court woman to woman defense, denying the ball against Caitlin Clark in a friendly Olympic versus All-Star game. And I'll tell you what, I think the men need to pay attention to this. And let's do the same thing with the men. How about that?
I like it. I like it. Yeah. You and I had a great time on that day, Blake, because I can recall that when you and I were there in person, with my friend from college, with my dad, you and I was together. Pretty much the people that were around us were like doing the same thing that we were, watching it on the TV until like it went until the game got really close and went down to less seconds. For the last possession of the game, it looked to be a game on the line. Just really, I think that South Sudan just had the last possession of the game. It was it was like a few seconds up the clock. It was down to the last play, and next thing you know, it was with the shot going up, it looked to be really close, except to me it looked in and out, and then the crowd just like really celebrated, music blaring, and most of the crowd was watching right next to it, got into it, and they were just so pumped, excited that the U.S. finally got a nail biting win against South Sudan. And let me tell you, Blake, that was just one in the history books right there for U.S. And I certainly won't remember and forget it from what I have witnessed for a day like that.
I'll tell you what, Jackson, it's going to make Vegas a little nervous putting these lines out for the Olympics.
Doesn't this
and when
happen
you-
like every year though, when the US plays the practice games and they win by like 2 points and everyone like gets super nervous and then they end up actually trying super hard during the Olympics? So I'm a little
Very
hesitant
possible.
to fully wreck, but to a wider point, I do think the level of the other countries has gotten better and better
Mhm.
as time has gone on, like France and Serbia and Greece. They all
Yeah.
have big name players. So
Well, just
obviously
look at
the
the-
US, yeah,
The MVP for the last couple of years in the NBA,
correct.
they've
Yeah.
all been foreign players.
Correct. So I do think the US still has no excuse not to win gold, given they've got, a full roster 10 deep of like all-star level players, whereas some of these countries might have better individual players, i.e. like a Giannis, Jokic, etc. But ultimately the US has the most stacked roster, so they should be fine.
Yeah. What do you think of another U.S. dream team, the U.S. men's golf team?
So what's that roster looking like? I haven't seen it.
Scotty Scheffler,
Okay, good start.
Xander Scheffel
Coming off his open
coming
open
off
win,
the Open,
right?
also the PGA champion, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa.
Oof. Yeah, I don't see how anybody can beat that. I mean,
Well, they swept the majors for the first time in a long time, right? The Americans swept all the majors this year.
that's
They
right.
did. They did.
So yeah, it's a good year to be an American golfer, that's for sure.
Wait, you did not say DeChambeau?
No, DeChambeau's not on the team.
Nah,
Interesting.
nobody.
He's ranked number 5.
Clark
Yeah, I don't-
jumped him. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hang out with him for a couple weeks, I think, in Paris. That's probably why.
He brought the energy in his last major win. It was good to see a little change with him.
Yeah. He was trying to get more of the crowd on board and stuff. No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Jack, you guys talked about some of the sports that you're looking forward to watching at the Olympics yet? I can throw in
Yeah.
a couple of my ones I'm looking forward to.
What about what about someone? I can name quite a few. I could definitely I can definitely name some and I can definitely name some for I can definitely yeah, I could definitely name a ton of sports, but one of them that comes into mind that nobody even really cares about but watches it anyway, that would be break dancing.
That's
Like,
a
people
new
know
entrant
that-
this year.
That's a first time.
Technically, it's just called breaking, technically,
Yeah.
to use the full technical term. And I'm definitely curious to see what the reaction to this is going to be. You know, I think obviously it takes a lot of flexibility, a lot of skill to kind of pull off some of these moves. So it's going to be definitely going to be interesting to see see kind of the level of competition for breaking for sure.
Mhm.
And I'm curious to see how the 3-on-3 basketball ends up going as well, and whether or not, I don't think maybe that would be as interesting to watch as regular basketball, mainly because I think it seems like the best basketball players are playing regular basketball, not 3-on-3 for most of the countries and stuff. But it's still an interesting concept that maybe if they get more buy-in from the bigger players, could be one to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, the beach volleyball is always a really good time as well. I'm sure they got a nice setup in France for that one.
Yeah,
That's
they're playing right underneath the Eiffel Tower
There you go. There you
for
go.
the
Yeah.
beach
Part of the-
volleyball.
Yeah, they always like to put
I
that in
got
the
my
scenic
Eiffel Tower
location.
background
Wait a minute.
virtual background effect right behind me as I speak with my showing off my Team USA gear teacher getting prepped for the for
I'm wearing an Olympic t-shirt as well.
yeah, I'm getting pumped up for this edition of the Olympic Games, so something I should be more excited about.
Well, it
Yeah.
looks like it's morning time in Paris, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing it's nighttime, so he must be a time traveler or something.
Actually, dusk. Actually,
He's on the Concord.
I see. But yeah, no, I mean, there's tons of these great sports that
Yeah.
that you really only focus on every 4 years, like
Yeah.
a table tennis or a
Mhm.
water polo, you know, things like that that always fun to watch. Sometimes you forget about them in the back of your head, and you're like, and then the Olympics come on and you're like, oh yeah, like I love table tennis. Like I'm a huge handball guy. What are you talking about? And then you can get the focus in on some of
Yeah.
that. So I love always love the Summer Olympics.
I always like watching the marathon. Just
Yeah, that's
I
a good
mean,
one.
Oh my God. I've run the Marine Corps marathon a couple times,
Oh well.
and man, just knowing what those guys are going through, but just how fast they are. Oh my goodness. I mean, running 26.2 miles and they're running, 5-minute miles. I mean, just imagine running a 5-minute mile and doing it 26 times back to back. I mean, it's phenomenal what those guys are doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So, but did you hear the Salt Lake City won the 2034 Olympics?
That's
The
right.
winner.
Yeah.
Winter Olympics.
Coming back.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was able to catch the coverage of it earlier, and yeah, I mean, yeah, tell you what, everybody back in Salt Lake City it is really excited and partying after they really hear that result from what people out in Washington Square, just out there in Salt Lake City, should be really excited about, because they had no idea if because on the agenda it looked to be that that Bash, the Olympic head committee, I believe, knew it was going to be in one of the U.S. city destinations for that Olympics and for the Winter Games, and they just knew that in his head that it was going to be going back to Salt Lake City. for the first time since 2002 when my dad went there actually for work with my mom running the church at the time back when my dad was working at Coca-Cola that actually ran the opening ceremony relay with the torch with my mom back then, just lighting up the Olympic Stadium back then. I just realized it was just that it was just one in the memory books for her, and I just knew that it was just one to be remembered. But yeah, it's great that the Olympics are headed back to Salt Lake City because they should be really excited and thrilled about it, and I'm sure that the winter athletes are too. But yeah, there's definitely lots to be looking forward to. But yeah, the game's headed back to Salt Lake City. Yes, the athletes, and I'm sure the Olympic fans and their athletes and for their sports in general, for their for their team or athletes, yeah, they should be very excited and looking forward to for this edition of the games. And yeah, they're very excited.
Yeah, you know, by the time those games roll around in 2034, the Utah Yeti will already have won 3
Yeah.
Stanley Cups. So it's gonna be a sports town for sure. By the time the games comes around for the second time, and it's, you know, not many cities can say they've hosted it more than once, particularly a city the size of Salt Lake. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a feather in the cap of those Salt Lake citizens for sure.
Yeah. Well, I can think Innsbruck comes to mind. Innsbruck, Austria hosted in 64 and then again in 76.
Oh, well, that's a good shout from you. Didn't Lake Placid, when they hosted in the 80s, wasn't that their second time as
That
well?
was their second time. They
Okay.
did it back in the 30s.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind
So
of
yeah, it's become Olympic royalty when you've hosted more than once. So LA
Yeah,
will be joining that club in 2 years.
LA hosted
hmm
the Summer Olympics.
They were
a couple times.
84, right? I think.
84 and then in the 30s.
Yep.
That's when
Yep.
the LA Coliseum was built, was for the
That makes
for
sense.
the Olympics.
That makes sense. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Now they're gonna now they're gonna be now they're gonna be having it back as a host in the next Olympics in 28. So
Yeah. So it'll
Should
be
be-
their third time.
yeah, it'll be and not just that, it will also mark the return of the Olympics back to the 50 continental United States since the Atlanta Games back in 96. So
hmm
lots to be, yes, exactly. Love that you represented your teacher there, but lots to be looking forward to for the next Olympics when
That's an antique.
back to US soil.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the games.
Oh yeah.
look forward to.
Indeed. The track and field and swimming usually, I mean, they're all good, but it usually gets my attention a lot.
Yeah. Those are the classics for sure.
Those are
Yeah,
the marquee ones.
definitely.
Oh, but yeah, my mom is so obsessed with Simone Biles, and that's what
Yeah.
she
Gymnastics always gets a lot of coverage as well.
Good for on Sunday, and
100%. 100%.
and then yes, of course, track and field with Noah Wiles, the local Alexandria native that Uncle Mike should really know more about since he is from the area, just not
Mhm.
you. Of course, the other athlete to keep an eye on is a Caleb Dressel and Kylie Watry from swimming. Too. So there's definitely lots of U.S. athletes to keep an eye on. For sure. And then let me just be really sure.
Where is he going?
Uh,
You know, one of my favorite sports to always check into is the is the archery as well
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
in the Olympics. That's one of the ones that I always think is kind of a fun spectacle. And also did they have the triathlon where there's
Yeah, they have the triathlon
and
and like a one.
pentathlon as well, where they have
Yeah.
shooting as one of the events there as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, the triathlon in the Olympics is it's shorter than the Ironman.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not the Ironman. Ironman is, so the swim is a little under a mile, and then the 35-mile bike ride, and then a 10K run.
Okay.
Where the Ironman is like 2.5-mile swim, 100-some-mile bike ride, and a full marathon as the run.
Oh, wow.
But even to do the triathlon is remarkable. I always like the steeplechase in
Oh,
track
yeah.
and field, where they
That's
have to jump over and hurdle over the water the water hurdle.
yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
How many
about-
different? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Blake. About that, the mayor has tested the waters of the river that's flowing right in the heart of Paris.
The
Which
River Seine.
yeah, we're saying just experiencing and just seeing if the water is clean, because it's always get like polluted and stuff. And I'm sure if that water's not clean enough for the environment and for not to take great care of it, and I'm sure there's going to be another plan B, just in case if that doesn't work. Then I think that the U.S. triathlon and swimming and for rowing and for other like then for any other like swimming kind of activity that's involved in the water there. I'm sure that the Olympic teams and for their mayor will have a plan in place, and I'm sure that they will change course and know what they they have going forward with this. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But I do think that the Olympics has lots to look forward to for the opening ceremonies. Doing something that's never been done before, which is a floating boat show than what you're used to in the Olympic Stadium. Because what you're about to experience is something that's never been done before, ever in the history of the Olympic Games, which is a floating boat show with a bunch of spectators watching, which I think is kind of cool and different of how things.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they just thought they just thought they wanted to try something new and different, and with a different kind of setup, and that's what they decided to do, and that's what they're shooting and going for.
Yeah, it'd be very cool. I know the mayor of Paris jumped into the Seine the other day just to say that it's ready.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'm sure it'll be good enough for the events. I think being in Paris is enough of a treat. The water should be good. I think they've done a good job kind of getting the city ready in general. It seems like for the games.
Yeah.
Paris obviously being a major city, so I think having the Olympics in these sort of big marquee Paris, Los Angeles is etc. really adds another element to it that I think benefits the whole spectacle for sure. So yeah, I think Paris will be a great host, and I'm sure they'll have a great opening ceremony tomorrow. Yeah, the French certainly know how to put on a
They
performance.
know how to throw a party.
So they say. So I expect nothing short of a spectacle tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, so The other sports to really keep an eye on, other than the sports I just mentioned earlier, are women's basketball, equestrian, which in front of the most iconic buildings outside of Paris, which I pretty sure it's very unique and special for tourists, but to have it for a sport for Olympic Games makes it very special.
That's right. The
also-
equestrian's going to be at Versailles.
Right. That's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I
Very
was
nice.
referring to. So
Very
that should be a lot
nice.
of fun. And then surfing will take place at one of the beaches and islands, and with the greens underneath the water, which
It's
I
in
find that
Tahiti, right?
Tahiti. Yeah.
Yes, in
Yeah.
Tahiti, in the island of Tahiti, where the surfing competition will take place for this year's Olympics. So
Yeah, I
there's-
mean, speaking of boats, I heard they have a full Olympic village on a boat in Tahiti. I saw on online actually for the surfers. So that's a fun one.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to go to Tahiti?
It's not a tough sell at all.
No.
Do a little surfing, chilling on the boat. That's
Mhm.
not a bad little outing there.
And then the next thing you know, underneath the water in Tahiti, usually you find sand underneath the surface of water. Well, actually, there is a bunch of like greens of grass below the surface of the ocean water, which is what athletes will actually get to experience in a first look deep dive from what they've experienced and ever before. So it'll be special, and but at the same time, it'll be very cool to experience and look at it. If you're like having to be underneath the ocean, that's what you'll find and get it. But yeah, it'll be yeah, and once in a lifetime, it'll be very cool to look at, and that'll make it very special.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to reporting back next week on the first week of competition.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about it. So the outfits I didn't mention before we wrap ourselves up for today is for our first show back of our program is Caleb Dressel, Bobby Flank of swimming, and Shady McKeowy Wadrower and Reagan Smith and Great Holiday. They are all in track and field and swimming. Those athletes that I'm mentioning. And then Grady Walsh and Anna Hall, they are both swimming and track and field. So lots of athletes to keep an eye on for sure, but for many of the sports like bicycle, triathlon, and many others to name, quite the stack of stuff that we have to look forward to. But I also know that earlier, like yesterday, the U.S. National women's men's national team lost 3-0 to France, which is just off to a rough start for them. But the U.S. women's national team, as far as I know, got underway. But I think they're also I think they're I didn't check the scores of that one, but if
They won 3-0
yeah, they own 3-0
against Zambia.
Zambia, which is a country I've never heard of, but that's probably
You sound like Charles Barkley in the '92 Olympics. He's like,
well,
I don't know who Angola is, but
not exactly. But Zambia to me just
they were in for a whooping.
You're probably wondering where Zambia is.
I don't know who Zambia is, but
Zambia,
they're in trouble.
I can tell you where Zambia is. They're probably a nation that's located in the continental of Africa. So that's probably
Yeah.
my best guess for all of your geography educators out there in social studies class. So
Yeah,
where
that's
probably
right. Yeah, should be fun. We can check back in as the games will go on for quite a while, so we'll be able to like Mike said, we'll be able to give everyone a good Olympic roundup here now that we're back in full swing on Good Guy Sports, huh, Jack?
That's right. That's right. Good Guy Sports is bigger and better, back right at it after a great vacation break. Our first show back from our summer vacation. It's certainly great to be back with all of you at Good Guy Sports. I just couldn't be here with any of you guys without you. With Uncle Mike and Blake Lumberger, who's not with us right now, but I'm sure he'll be listening. But it's certainly great to be back with none other than Uncle Mike Roby and Blake Lomberger and Blake Gerke. It's certainly great to be back with you guys after what was a great 2 weeks of summer vacation. We finally made it happen. We are back at it. It's great to be back with you guys, and I hope that we get to do this again in about a week from now, next Thursday, when we recap what's the latest going around the Olympic Games. We'll talk more about that in the next week on Thursday. But in the meantime, great show, guys. We'll talk to you next week, and enjoy the Olympics opening ceremony. We will talk to you then, and until then, happy Olympics, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy the Olympics. Bye now.